Hey, what is up there everybody? This is Tech Boy, and this video is highlighting everything I'm expecting to be announced at the October 16th, 2014 event from Apple. So let's get into it. Now, if you refer to the invites for the actual event that's happening tomorrow, or just in a few hours time, probably from when you're watching this video, the event invitation itself said it's been way too long, period. Now, when they're specifically referring to that, I believe they are referring to products that they sell that haven't been updated in a very long time, because that's obviously what they're hinting at. And despite the look of the actual invitation itself being very similar to what it was for the September 2014 event, when they announced the iPhone 6 and the 6 Plus and Apple Watch and all that, it also has a very colourful theme and all that that's similar to the 30th birthday for the Macintosh, because it was 30 years in January or February this year when the Mac turned 30, and despite it being different colours, it's on the same guidelines and the same colours used and all that, not necessarily the same spots and all that. But you can tell that it's a direct link to the fact that there will be Mac updates. What exactly we want to see, that we don't know for sure until the actual event itself. So the structure for this video is basically me talking about the products I want to see discussed during the keynote. Now, this video is going to be broken down into at least 4 main categories. So the things I'm going to discuss mostly are OS X Yosemite, iPads, Mac hardware, and the Apple Watch. It's funny though, I was making the presentation for this video and I even put in iWatch. I still can't get over the fact it was called Apple Watch, but I still think it's for the better, and I can understand why they're doing that, but that's a whole nother video. So if you want to skip to any of these, you can click on the screen right now to skip to that point of the video. And I assume now that you haven't done that, we're going to now talk about OS X Yosemite. So I'm expecting Craig Federighi to come up on stage and present OS X Yosemite in its final form that's going to be released to the public, similar to how he discussed iOS 7 at the iPhone 5C and 5S keynote, which was in September 2013, where he basically walked up on stage, he talked about all the new features and all that, but he didn't really go into any live demos or anything like that, when he did the OS X Mavericks update. So he won't be doing any in-depth demos, but he will announce that it is a free upgrade, just like it was for OS X Mavericks, what Mac hardware it is going to be compatible with, and the release date. Now, based off how many Gold Master versions there have been for OS X Yosemite, and at the time of this video, which will be a few hours from the actual event itself, I'm recording this in about 17 hours from when I was making this video, so that's how recent this video was actually being made, and I'm uploading it on the same day, obviously. So there's been 3 versions of the Gold Master version of OS X Yosemite so far. I doubt they'll release another one now if they haven't already, and I'm going to say it will be released to the public in non-beta form, because there is a public beta available for people that are interested in it, on the day of the keynote, just like it was for OS X Mavericks. So that's what I'm expecting to hear from the announcement for details that we haven't already been given. And in fact, when I finish making this video and uploaded it and all that, I'm going to be backing up my computer and all that, because I'll be downloading it straight away tomorrow, if it does become available tomorrow, that is. So if you want me to do a review of OS X Yosemite sometime over the holidays, because I just had my last exam for university for my second year yesterday, so now I've got all summer to work on videos and work and other stuff like that. So if you want me to do a review and all my first impressions or anything like that based on OS X Yosemite, let me know in the comment section below. Now let's talk about the iPads. So what am I expecting to hear from the iPad Air especially, and all these updates could be coming to the iPad mini as well, based off the most recent leaked documentation, that is the user guide that has been put up on iTunes recently, which obviously to counteract with the Nexus 6, Nexus 9 and the Nexus Player device announcements. That shows you how new this video is. So what I am hoping them to call the new iPads is basically the same name as they had last year. So call it the iPad Air, but it will be the late 2014 version when you refer to documentations and stuff like that, and really comparing the specs. Similar to what they're doing with the Mac laptops and desktops, because I think that was the approach they're trying to make with calling it the iPad Air, because it's similar to the MacBook Air, and I think that was the reason they're sort of wanting to go down that route, so they can call it iPad Air every single year from here on out, but just call it late 2014. But the documentation that was leaked, as I just mentioned before, basically suggests it will be called iPad Air 2 and iPad Mini 3, and that's just going to sound even more fragmented, because when it says iPad Air 2, it's really the 6th generation of the full-size iPad, if you completely ignore the larger iPad rumours that are coming out. So besides all of that, a slight redesign is rumoured, based off the leaked chassis and all that have been going around the internet, with a thickness of around 7mm, similar to the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus. A slightly better speaker that's on par with the iPhone 6 Plus because of its size, because that's got more holes down the bottom compared to the iPhone 6, so that's obviously got a bigger speaker. They'll be down at the bottom again, just like the previous one, but they'll just be slightly louder and probably, and hopefully, a lot clearer. iOS 8.1 will be announced, and that will include all of the Apple Pay features and all that, which I'll get into a second. The A8X chip, which will be the first time there's been a X chip in iOS devices since the 4th generation 9.7-inch iPad, which will have more graphics power than the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, obviously to drive all the pixels on that larger display. Same resolution as the 9.7-inch iPad since 2012, that is, for the iPad Air and for the iPad Mini, even though there's been a new resolution that's been leaked in recent documentation and all that. If they change the resolution, it's going to make everything more fragmented and all that for developers. They'll keep it the same, and if they change it, I'll be gobsmacked. And if anything, slightly annoyed at the same time. Touch ID fingerprint sensor, because it's been a year since the iPhone first got it, so just expect it to come and all that, and it's also been in all the leaks as well. An NFC antenna, but they won't discuss it at all during the keynote, because it won't work with Apple Pay, because if they put NFC and Apple Pay service both into the new iPads, you're basically saying you want people to go through the drive-thru at McDonald's and use their iPad to stick it out of the window and scan to pay for a device, if they have got a cellular version, that is, of the iPad, to pay for their 50-cent cones or their Happy Meal. The world's gone mad, if that all comes to fruition, but I really don't think that will happen. But I hope NFC does come in, so then when they announce NFC APIs or something like that for iOS 9, when it comes to WWDC 2015, then people and developers can take more advantage of it. 16, 64 and 128 gigabytes for the same prices as the 16, 32 and 64 gigabyte models that are currently available in your country at those same prices, similar to what they're doing with the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus. Ability to have split-screen multitasking within iOS 8.1 has been rumoured to happen with that, and I really hope they also bring it to the first generation of the iPad Air, which was from late 2013, and I sound biased because that's the one I've got, but even if it's not optimised as well, it would probably work just as well as it would on the new iPads, I would imagine, because they're going to be hardly any more powerful from what I've heard, and compared to the A7 chip and the A8 chip in the iPhone 5S and the new iPhone 6 and 6 Plus. I'm expecting, based off recent rumours, the iPad Mini update will have very similar updates as to what the new iPad Air is going to get. In some ways, I like it and I don't, because if they put like the A8X chip and stuff like that in it, it's almost going to cannibalise the iPad Air sales just like it was in previous years, or just like it was last year. And it's going to be still too similar to the iPhone 6 Plus, and I'm sure Apple would rather sell more of those despite the fact that they can't manufacture enough of them. I hope Apple announces a larger iPad Plus. I'd expect it to not be called the iPad Pro because it's not going to be a professional tablet or anything like that, because quite frankly, the other tablets will be capable of doing the same thing. So I'd imagine they'll be calling it the Plus, similar to what they did with the iPhone 6 Plus, the phablet, and go down that route because it's also consistent in that manner, with a 16.9-inch screen. And I expect it to be launched in early 2015, but at least discussed at this keynote, so then people full well know that if it's coming, they can hold off and not get it for Christmas, and then get the iPad Plus in early next year. And this is to avoid leaks of the new device, so then they can announce the new resolution found in iOS 8.1 documents, so developers can make apps for it quicker, and also if it supports new things like split screen multitasking and all that. Also, quite honestly, if they do release a larger iPad, I want to see changes that make it worth getting the larger model over the iPad Air, but I still can't see me updating my iPad anytime. And they really have to do a lot to try and drive more sales of the iPad tomorrow when it comes to making it different from all of the previous iPads. They really need to drive that into all the consumers, and hopefully they will deliver. Now I'm going to talk about the Mac hardware. So from what I've read, we should be expecting to hear about a 27-inch Retina iMac and not a 21.5-inch model, similar to how the 15-inch MacBook Pro Retina came before the 13-inch Retina model. So it's going to be the old thing of the 27-inch Retina iMac could be announced tomorrow, and then the 21.5-inch version of that could be announced in February or March next year, because that will be a similar timeline difference compared to what it was between the 15-inch and the 13-inch MacBook Pro Retinas. Also, a new Thunderbolt display would be great to see announced, but I doubt it will happen as there's been no hype about it lately, but that will catch a lot of people off guard if it does happen. What will catch a lot of people off guard, even though a lot of people are expecting it, despite there being no leaks or anything of it, is a Mac Mini update, which is overdue, as it just needs any update in any shape or form, because it hasn't been updated since October 2012. They could, if they put the effort into it, make a model like a squished Mac Pro, which is the black cylinder. Some call it a garbage can, but honestly don't mind either way, as long as it's got more up-to-date hardware and all that in it. Because it's almost feeling like it's been ignored, and I just hope they at least acknowledge that they know the product still exists. So, the Retina MacBook Air itself, I don't know if it will honestly be announced tomorrow or not. It's honestly 50-50 chance, I reckon, as to whether or not it will come to fruition and available to the public. Obviously it exists, but whether it comes to the public and that's another story. But there's a few things that's making me believe that this product may not or will not ever come to fruition, is because it'd be running on the ARM architecture if you're going based off the rumours and all that are coming out, which is going to require a whole entire separate version of OS X Yosemite just for the one product, and I don't think that's really feasible from Apple's perspective. It could cannibalise MacBook Pro Retina sales, because they've obviously got a Retina screen despite them being bigger, but they have the high resolution screens and all that, and they may not have enough processing power from a dual-core Haswell chip with no dedicated graphics cards in them to run all of those pixels, unless they wait for like the new Broadwell chips or something like that, but that's a whole other issue because Intel's struggling to make those. So that's what I'm expecting from the Mac hardware updates. Quickly moving along, the Apple Watch, I want to see more features announced for it as to what the Apple Watch is capable of doing, but I'm mainly thinking they're not going to be spending too much time on it tomorrow and all that, because they'll probably have a keynote for it in February or March 2015, where they'll announce more details about it just before they release it, because they said it will come out early 2015. I'm not expecting them to announce a lot of details on it tomorrow, but I hope they announce the starting price for each of the 3 Apple Watch editions, which is the Apple Watch, the Apple Watch Sport, and the Apple Watch Edition, which is the gold one. I also want to know more details about the specs of the device, but I can safely say that's not going to happen until February or March 2015, where they would possibly also announce the iPad Plus, which could also be announced if it is not initially introduced this week. So that's what I'm expecting for the Apple Watch. Now, the minor predictions are based on what I'm hoping to see that have not necessarily been announced or rumoured or anything like that recently. So the one product I want to see discussed most that has not been rumoured recently is the Apple TV. And why do I say that? Well, because it fits perfectly in with the tagline. It's been way too long since it's been updated, because it's been March 2012. It's older, technically speaking, than the Mac Mini, for goodness sakes. I mean, everybody's saying the App Store could come to it, and they could announce a TV kit to release to developers so they can make applications that make better use of the iOS hardware, similar to WatchKit for the Apple Watch when it had glances and all that stuff. They could upgrade the internals to make it compatible with 4K TVs. And when I say 4K TVs, I'm talking about Ultra HD and 4K TVs, depending on the aspect ratio of the TV screen and the number of pixels and all that. But it's roughly 4 times the resolution of full 1080p, which is 1920 by 1080, which is the same resolution as on the iPhone 6 Plus and a lot of other Android smartphones that are out there at the moment. I'll go over this quickly because I know a lot of you viewers are from around Europe and America and all that, but for the people that are watching from Australia, the ability to integrate Freeview Plus into the device itself, so this will sell a lot of units in Australia because everybody has a Freeview compatible set-top box to get digital TV since Australia no longer has analog. But next to no one out there has Freeview Plus because it's only just come out. And the reason I raised this is because it will allow you to watch programs from within the past week, but looking up to the week-old electronic program guide and stream over the internet from ABC iView, which is the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, which is similar to what BBC is in the UK, +7 for Channel 7, Jump In for Channel 9, and 10 Play for Channel 10. 802.11ac Wi-Fi networking for faster streaming, which is up to 3 times faster than the 802.11n at similar distances. An updated remote that has a built-in microphone which supports Siri for an alternative way of navigation, similar to what the Amazon Fire TV now does. And the ability to control the Apple TV with mirroring the TV screen pixel for pixel onto the iPhone 6 Plus while in landscape mode as another form of navigation would be another nifty form of input. So you don't need to find your remote and all that. If you've got your phablet on you, no offense, but if you've got your phablet on you, you'll be able to change whatever it is on the TV probably quicker, because you've got the phone on you already, but instead of having to find the remote. Expect either no video at the start of the keynote itself, or the same video at the start of the September 2014 event. Phil Schiller will be doing the majority of the talking during the event, I would imagine. All presenters will have their sleeves up, is what I'm hoping them to do, to show the Apple Watch, to show it as a device that is made to be worn. Because Tim Cook had put a lot of emphasis on this during the actual keynote itself when they initially announced it last month, that it's a device that's made to be worn all day and in all conditions, you could say. It's subtle, but it's a massive deal when it comes to marketing, because if they don't show it on their wrist, it's almost saying, well, you're saying it's something that's going to be worn all the time, why aren't you showing us that you're wearing it? So I really think they will show the watch on them during the keynote itself, because they did ever since they announced it during the September 2014 keynote, and then from that point onwards they always showed that they had it on their wrist. So that's it, thank you very much for watching. The question for you, the audience, is which product are you most excited for, and what do you want to see and hear about that has not been rumoured so much lately. So for me, it's definitely the Apple TV, because of the whole streaming capabilities and all that, because that's what I want to hear, because it hasn't been updated in such a long time. But what I'm most excited for in terms of what's highly rumoured to come, or what's definitely going to be announced, would definitely be OS X Yosemite. So, what's your answer to this question? Let me know in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed this, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Twitter and Google+. My Twitter handle is @techboy1212, the exact same channel name as it is on YouTube, and the exact same on Google+. So, that's it for now. If you want to hear my initial impressions about this whole event, let me know in the comment section below, and I will be live tweeting during this event tonight, which will be starting at 4 AM in Australia on the East Coast, which is incredibly late because we're in daylight savings time at the moment, so it's later than it was earlier this year when I did it. But I'll be watching the CNET coverage beforehand anyway, then watching the actual keynote itself. So, until next time, thank you very much for watching. If you stay up later and you're watching the keynote, enjoy the keynote, and I will catch you later.